Hello everyone, my name is Julia Lesa, and today we're going to be learning about the use of railways during times of war and as well as their impact. The reason why I want to discuss this is because the railways were a major player in several wars, notably the Civil War and Boer Wars, but no one really mentions them, which is a shame since, well, without these railways, our world would be very different because they couldn't have had their impact on the world. Okay. Okay, so as mentioned, the first war that the railway had an impact in was the Civil War. And they had an impact for several reasons. Some of these reasons you can see in an article by Mr. Adam Burns titled Railways in the Civil War, Facts and Statistics, which is on AmericanRails.com. It mentions in this article that, well, one, the railways gave the North an advantage. They gave them this advantage by helping them set up trade in new territories, which helped them get supplies as well as money, which they needed during the war. The article also mentions that that the railways helped in several battles by moving troops where they needed to be, notably battles such as the battles of Bull Run, the Battle of First Manassas, and the Battle of Chickamauga. I apologize for my pronunciation. And one final thing that is notable that the article mentions is that the railways allowed for innovation to be made. Two examples of this are the invention of the automatic air brake and automatic coupler, which were devices used on the railway, which helped it run smoother. So the railways use led to innovation. And this innovation is what later led to the railway's use during World War I. And much like with the Civil War, the railways were used in a multitude of ways and had a multitude of impacts during World War I. Some of these examples of these can be seen in Mr. Shane Cupus's article titled "Without Trains, World War I would have been completely different," which you can find on sbs.com.au. In this article, it mentions that the railways. One of the things it mentions that the railways did during World War I was help in a plan created by Germany called the Schlieffen Plan. I apologize for my pronunciation. It's in German. Anyway, this plan was essentially for Germany to use the railway to go through Belgium so they could attempt to pacify France. And while this attempt wasn't successful, it was still a major event that took place, and it wouldn't have been possible without the railways. Another thing that the railways allowed to happen during World War I was the creation of a new weapon. That weapon being the railway gun, which is a weapon used specifically for railway use. So if a train hypothetically had to go through a battlefield, they can use the weapon to help protect the train, as well as the people inside of it. So that's another innovation created by the railway during World War I. And one other innovation I have to mention that the railways allowed to happen was it created a chance for women to work. And what I mean by this is, well, since men were off at war, fighting and all that, there was no one there to help, maybe work on the engines and paint them and collect tickets for them. So, with that, since the men were gone, women got the chance to actually work in the field. And this allowed for women to show what they can do in the work field. So that's another innovation created by the railways during World War I. It allowed for women to work. And all this leads to the railways' use in World War II. And as mentioned with the other previous two, it was used for a multitude of reasons. Those reasons you can see in the article written by Mr. Barry Silverstein, titled America's Railways Go to War, which you can find on thehistoryofyesterday.com. This article mentions that during that time, railways carried 98% of the troops, so it allowed soldiers to go into battle. So if it weren't for the railways, we wouldn't have had the soldiers couldn't have gone where they needed to go. Also during this time, there was the for railways, railway battalions were instituted, so the railways could be managed and maintained, which could be used for future purposes. And also, one final thing that the article mentions is that railways carry 90% of the freight, which are supplies and tools, which were both needed on both sides. So the railways have helped things get around. So overall, railways were used for a multitude of reasons during wartime and made tons of impacts, such as allowing women to work, giving the North an advantage, and the institution of railway battalions. So, overall, the railways were highly important during times of war. And they could most likely still be useful during times of war, such as in the whole situation with Russia and the Ukraine. And so, maybe we'll once again see the use of the railway during war nowadays. We'll just have to wait and see. That's all I have to say. Links in the description for the information I've gotten to the articles I mentioned. That's all I have to say. Have a good weekend. Bye.